Good morning. It is already 2 p.m. in Sydney, Australia. It's 3 a.m. in London. But in Nairobi, it is 6 a.m. and you know what time that is. It is a morning cafe. My name is Fred Ndemuli, here to wake you up the best way we know how.
Concerned to know what are you doing in Sydney, Australia today, New York?
Unajuaje kana connections huko? Acha mambo yako.
It is the 25th day of February 2026. Karibu sana. It's hump day. That means one thing, Relationship Wednesday. And the conversation we are having today is very, very interesting.
This is a good one.
Already, kuna hit in studio. Na sijui ni kwa nini watu wanachachisha. The question of the day, kwa nini hadi umeanza kupress? Are women the new problem in modern relationships? Hashtag is Morning Cafe TV 47. I'm told Fred came up with this topic. Why are women the problem?
Anyway, but it's a valid question. It is a valid question. It is 2026. Just go through Instagram, go through TikTok, go through any social media.
Yes.
And you'll actually...
No, what are women doing wrong in this day and age that will prompt this question?
But what do you think? Are women the new problem in modern relationships?
They will tell us what they think, but what do you think? What do you think? Are women the new problem in modern relationships?
It is rather obvious that the answer is women are the new problem in modern relationships in 2026.
Is it because we know our rights?
I don't know. Probably you know your rights. I don't know.
Me think men are the problem.
The good thing is that by saying that, you're already admitting that women are the problem in relationships.
No, that is gaslighting behavior that you're doing. You're trying to gaslight women to make women think that they're the problem. Women are not the problem. Women know their rights. Women empowerment, and they're saying that actually you as men, the reason why you think women are the problem is because you cannot live with empowered women. Hakuna.
It's because we're empowered.
See, because you're trying to gaslight.
What do you think? Are women the new problem in modern relationships? You know, historically, it's always been, oh, the man, they are drinking too much, oh, they have other women out there, oh, they're not taking care of their children, oh, they're having children out there, they are cheating and all these things.
Yes.
But this is 2026. The game has changed completely. Question is, and be very truthful to yourself. Are women the new problem in modern relationships? You
know, everything but then you said are things that are even happening in this day and age. So what women are trying to do is just doing what you're doing. Women in men's field.
So let's accept. Men were the older problem.
Yes.
Now, there's a new problem. Underline, new problem.
Now when women are doing what you're doing now, they're the problem.
Now you're
Akuna.
Women are the new... I think we've sorted it out.
No,
women are the new
women
problem.
Are not the problem. Guys, talk to us. What do you think? You know, they have an issue with now women know their rights. Women want to date higher and across board. They don't want to go down. Women also, you know, Akuna.
And it's because of all of that you've listed just now that they are the problem.
He said men are cheating, men are getting kids outside, men are drinking, men are doing 1, 2, 3.
They're the old problem.
TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube. And on next at TV47 Digital. Use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47. We also have a WhatsApp number. It will be on your screen any minute from now. Send us your feedback. What do you think? And don't let Fred gaslight you guys.
Make sure you use the hashtag.
Let's come back and take a look at the state of the weather. All right, let's see how the weather's looking in several parts across the country. Kwale, it's raining this morning. Heavy rains expected through the day. This morning it's 24 degrees. Highs of 31 degrees expected in Kwale. Bungoma is also raining this morning at 16 degrees. Rains expected throughout the day and highs of 27 degrees. Nyamira, it's also raining. This morning it's 14 degrees. Highs of 24 degrees expected in Nyamira today. Kilifi, also raining, heavy rains throughout the day. This morning it's 26 degrees, highs of 29 degrees, so comfortable weather, but expect rains in Kilifi. Bomet, it's also raining as we speak, and it's 12 degrees. Today expect highs of 21 degrees in Bomet. Mandera, it's very, very hot. In fact, sunny. It's not even cloudy. It's a very sunny day in Mandera today. This morning is 26 degrees. Expect highs of 37 degrees today. That is as far as these areas are concerned. Of course, the meteorological department, that is the weatherman, has issued a heavy rainfall alert covering large parts of the country. Of course, warning residents to brace for potential floods from Saturday, February 21st to today, Wednesday, February 25th, which of course we are expecting a new alert today or tomorrow. And the intensity of the rainfall is expected to reduce today, actually. And counties listed as high risk include Migori, Nyamira, we've looked at Nyamira, Bungoma, we've looked at it as well. We have Kakamega, Murang'a, Nyeri, Tharaka Nithi, Kisii, Narok, Kajiado, Makueni, Machakos, Nairobi, among other counties. Let's take a look at the quote of the day.
No need to hurry, no need to sparkle, no need to be anybody but oneself.
All right, welcome back, and let's take a look at the local dailies, and we start off with the Daily Nation today. The Russian mercenaries, a big story on the front page. So they say this is an unmasking. Festus Arasa Omwamba has teetered between notoriety and anonymity. He had engineered the ouster of a senator, battled fraud charges, and is now wanted for sending Kenyans to fight for Russia. So apparently this story unearths the individual behind Kenyans going to Russia to fight in the Russian-Ukraine war. This is the first time we're seeing this. So Kenyan authorities have issued a stop order against a suspect, but he's already in Russia. His name is Festus Arasa Omwamba. So the number of Kenyans who are suspected or believed to be fighting in Russia numbers 1,000. So the Kenyans are lured to join the Russian military with a signing bonus of about 1.2 million shillings, which is quite handsome by any Kenyan standards. But some have paid with their lives. Mikhail Yapin is another individual who's Russian, is a Russian national, and is Arasa's friend, who was deported last year on suspicion of running a rogue job syndicate. This is something that has been going on for a while now, and you can read more on this on page 2 of this paper. Some politics on the front page of this newspaper as well, and this will form part of our discussions. Sifuna open to alliance with United Opposition. Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna has said his ODM faction will explore a coalition with like-minded leaders to craft a formidable machine against President William Ruto's re-election. The ODM Secretary General assured his group will not divide the opposition bloc. This is the very first time we're hearing this reassurance, because even part of the question we're asking today is whether or not whatever Sifuna is saying, that whatever Sifuna is saying is actually the plan for the entire third force, or it is something that is yet to be decided. So that story, you can read it on page 4. Other quick highlights on the front page. Grabbers target State House land, not necessarily a State House in Nairobi, but other state lodges elsewhere. So that's the Daily Nation this morning. Let's take a look at the inside pages of this paper. And yes, there's a story about border borders and the dreaded border gangs on page 3. One of the victims, latest victims, is Jimmy Gate, the artist, who had to be admitted at a hospital along Kiambu Road after being attacked by thugs around Runda. You can imagine, Runda and border borders. Yeah, so that story is on page 3. And inside pages, a lot more stories, but on the back, a story on page 8, now that they're talking about state lodges. Apparently, President William Ruto has already moved back into the main building of State House, quietly so. You know, he's been operating at the State Pavilion within State House grounds for the past 2 years or so, and now apparently he's been holding, and this paper has established that since February 20th, which was sometime last week, that he's now back at the main building, which was undergoing renovations. And so you will see a lot more of the president from the main building, as well as a pavilion, which I think Kenyans are now getting used to. Those are the main stories on the back page of the Daily Nation. Still plans for the WLC Safari Rally, the shake-up. CEO ousted, weeks to start. They're only 2 weeks away from the World Rally Championships that are coming to Kenya. But then 2 weeks before that, the WRC Kenya CEO has been ousted. What does that mean for the competition? Meanwhile, a lot of people are already planning for this. So for lovers of motorsport, something to look forward to. Back page of the Daily Nation.
All right, Taifa Leo still talks about Sifuna, lengo ni one term, quote unquote. Katibu mkuu wa Orange Democratic Movement, ODM, that is Edwin Sifuna, amefichua kuwa wakati wake ndani ya chama hicho kikubwa cha upinzani unakaribia kuisha, huku akielezea uwezekano wa kujiunga na muungano wa upinzani. Kauli hiyo inaashiria kuwa mjadala wa one term unaoendelezwa na vuguvugu la Linda Mwananchi na muungano wa upinzani umepangwa kufanikisha azma ya kumshinda Rais William Ruto katika uchaguzi mkuu wa mwaka ujao. Habari kamili iko katika ukurasa wa pili. Anasema kwamba seneta wa Nairobi adokeza uwezekano wa kushirikiana na muungano wa upinzani kuelekea kura za mwaka 2027. Ananukuliwa hapa, anasema tunahitaji kuonyesha kwa nguvu kwamba hatutavumilia utawala wa William Ruto na yote anayosimamia. That's the main story on the front page of Taifa Leo this morning, na vidokezo zaidi. Murang'a, Nakuru juu kwa ajira. Hii ni ripoti ya Kenya Vision ya mwaka 2030 ambayo imesema kwamba kaunti 5 zinaongoza kwa kuboresha huduma, Murang'a na Nakuru wakiwa kule juu zaidi. Baada ya ukame kuna hofu ya mafuriko. Kaunti ya Tana River yataka maandalizi ya mapema kuepuka athari za mafuriko. Kwa sasa kuna ukame katika kaunti hiyo. Habari nyingine katika ukurasa wa 8 wa gazeti hili ni Rais Kiir afuta tena waziri wa fedha tena. Rais wa Sudan Kusini amtimua waziri wa fedha Bakchol kwenye mabadiliko ya mawaziri. Na kule juu habari hiyo ambayo pia iko katika ukurasa wa mbele wa Daily Nation ya The Russian Machinery, mamluki wa Russia sasa anikwa. Anaitwa Festus Arasa, daiwa kupeleka Wakenya vitani kule Ukraine. Gazeti la Taifa Leo.
Right, from Taifa Leo, let's go to the Standard. I have a big question on the front page of the Standard. Whose goons, they ask? Interior PS Raymond Omolo is cast as a polished technocrat with a philanthropic touch, but in Nyanza, a darker narrative is taking hold. As rival camps prepare for bruising political battles ahead of the general election, allegations are mounting that state-backed empowerment networks have morphed into engines of intimidation, with goons shadowing rallies, disrupting meetings, and operating in full glare of the police. Supporters hail decisive leadership. Critics see a dangerous fusion of power, patronage, and fear that could tip a volatile region into chaos. Now, this is a use of goons in political contests, but the question people are asking, and I think this is the biggest question, who is controlling these goons and who has allowed them to actually operate without any deterrent? On one hand, the Ministry of Interior, led by the CS Murkomen and his PS Raymond Omolo, accused the opposition of being behind this, including carrying military-grade weapons to their meetings. On the other hand, the opposition says their goons were infiltrating their meetings, using border borders and causing havoc. So who's saying what? Whose goons, people are asking, and that's a big question on the front page of the Standard this morning. It will form part of our discussions today because issues around elections and security are a big discussion. Other quick highlights that would be of interest to you, dear Kenyan. One is on page 2. Tomorrow we do anticipate the rollout of the new anti-HIV jab. It kicks off tomorrow here in Kenya. So experts are explaining what happens with this new medication. It's an injectable prevention drug that has no major side effects and will roll out in phases beginning tomorrow. So that's a good story there. Another very interesting story, IBC wameambiwa ile pesa walikuwa wanaitisha 64 billion shillings, hiyo ni pesa mingi mnaleta mchezo. That actually included about 1.5 billion shillings because they want to buy land to build an office. Tunawaambia, why should you buy land? The government has a lot of land. Why do you need to buy land? Yet you're a government entity. You're an independent body provided for by the Constitution. And the other one, page 5, state is eyeing a fresh airport deal with Adani. Unakumbuka Adani? Adani anarudi. Ako hapo page 5. On the back page, Matters Sports, Mourinho, the unwelcome guest at Madrid's home. Matters UEFA Champions League. Benfica manager Jose Mourinho. Actually, last week they were in trouble after one of the players was accused of racist remarks during a game against one of the players from is it Real Madrid or PSG? And now, today, Real Madrid will be hosting Benfica at their stadium. Remember, Jose Mourinho has been at the Santiago Bernabeu as manager before, so now they say he is unwelcome. But interesting. The other story, PSG star Hakimi faces trial for alleged rape, is another story on the back page of The Standard. That's The Standard today.
People Daily. Has the Orange Party run out of political juice? Is a story captured on page 4, and there are two caps here. One cap, of course, is party leader Oburu Odinga, and the other part is the SG, Edwin Sifuna. They're trying to squeeze this juice. Like Kenny, the People Daily is asking, has the Orange Party run out of political juice from cornerstone to cornered? It's a story on page 4. Tell us what you think. Inside the intense power struggle among Gusii leaders, the united alternative opposition is in Kisii, Gusii land. They call it Search for Elusive Unity among Gusii leaders. Inside the intense power among Gusii leaders, a story captured on page 3 of the People Daily. County Watch, why Mombasa is still waiting for its ship to dock, is another story on page 12 of this newspaper, and that's the People Daily.
All right, from the People Daily, let's take a look at the Star. The Star talks about Bomas of Kenya, something that has been forgotten for a while now. There was a revamp. So Bomas revamp turns center to Premier Summit Tourism Hub. There's a big story there. It's situated on 79 acres. Did you know that? The property is actually 79 acres big. It will host 11,000 delegates at one go and boost tourism. So that could be the next conference center away from the KICC, which actually brings a lot of problems in town. And they've put actually pictures of that simulation of how the Bomas Conference Center will look. State of the art, they call it, Bomas International Conference Center, BICC. Yeah? KICC, BICC. Under construction in Nairobi. Artistic impression of the complex is also there on the front page of this paper. There's been quite some controversy on how this deal was agreed on. The one for revamping the Bomas of Kenya. Where did the money come from? What is the interest of some senior officials in this? But yes, the construction is still on, and the expected capacity is 11,000 delegates. Other stories on the front page. Murang'a, Nakuru and Kiambu are leading counties in jobs and digital services ranking. We've had that from a different paper as well. That story is on page 8. Balance and inclusion pipe dream as ethnic bastions exposed in new Public Service Commission report. Yeah, so the Public Service Commission has been historically accused of being biased when it comes to employment into the ranks and file of the civil service. It's the same thing, and we see this over yearly. Annually, we get this report that says about 2 or 3 communities are dominating employment positions in the civil service. Nothing new there, but it's just another report. Pale Juu on the front page of this paper, and they give an account of an individual who's fighting in the Russian war and says, "Pray for me, Mom." Those are the last words of Kenyan's son from Russian frontline. This story about Kenyans fighting in Russia doesn't seem to go away. The Daily Nation has gone even deeper to unearth the person allegedly behind the recruitment of Kenyans to fight in Russia. And now this one gives a personal experience of a Kenyan fighting in the Ukraine war. And the final words that he said to his mother. And after that, he's not been heard of again. Sifuna signals grand alliance with Rigathi and Kalonzo to beat Ruto. I think on the front page of the Taifa Leo anasema ati amesema ni one term. Ati ni one term.
Lengo ni one term.
Lengo ni one term. So is this a declaration that they're joining the united opposition or not? The question we'll be asking today is whether or not Sifuna and his grouping, the Linda Mwananchi grouping, are able to form a proper third force, or are they going to dilute the effects of either the broad-based arrangement or the united opposition? But this one throws a spanner in the works. Definitely we'll be looking at that later on. That's the Star newspaper. Fresh, independent, different. Grab yourself a copy for only 60 bob here in Kenya.
All right. Finally, let's take a look at the Business Daily now. Uganda gets veto powers over hiring of KPC boss. It says Kampala gets juicy deals in revised shareholder pact. It had threatened to pull out 106 billion shillings IPO. Now, Kenya has given Uganda the right to veto future hiring and firing of the KPC CEO. as part of an agreement reached last week for Kampala to buy a 20 billion shilling stake in Save the Farm's initial public offering, that is the IPO. Kampala will also approve future issuance of fresh shares in KPC in a move aimed at preventing dilution of its ownership in the company. It says Kenya gave the concessions, including 2 board seats in the firm, after the neighboring country threatened to walk away from the KPC IPO because of a lack of authority in the running of the firm. Very interesting story on page 2 there. NTSA adds 1,000 shillings traffic NTSA adds 1,000 traffic cameras amid instant fines push. And it says that more than 1,000 new smart cameras are to go live on Kenyan roads to catch drivers performing illegal maneuvers under a private-public partnership aimed at curbing speeding and ease execution of instant fines. Now, the network will comprise 700 fixed cameras to be mounted at strategic locations along major highways and high-risk corridors, and 300 mobile units targeting speeding and accident-prone zones. That is speeding hotspots. It's very, very interesting here. I'm trying to see if the offences have been listed here, but this story is on page 2 as well. This is a project approved last December by Cabinet and is structured as 21-year PPP deal with KCB Bank Kenya and Pesa Print. That's the Business Daily this morning. Let's cross over and take a look at regional dailies now.
Let's start off in Uganda, and the Daily Monitor has LC's one secret vote. This is Uganda's delayed local council elections. In Uganda, they're still in electioneering mood after the main general elections in mid-January. Now they're still into the local councils. So LC1, LC2 and women council polls have been announced for March. That's the next month. But village chairpersons are urging the Electoral Commission to disband lining up behind candidates in Eto Mulolongo. They still have that Mulolongo system in Uganda. And adopt secret ballot voting to ensure fairness, reduce intimidation and safeguard voter choice. It speaks a lot about the level of democracy in Uganda. That Mulolongo system, I think, was last used in Kenya. I think in 87 or 1988. Most of our viewers probably, okay, let me not go there. Anyway, Makerere week-long graduation kicks off. Makerere is such a big university that they need a week to carry out graduations. Ni wengi. Week-long graduations. So those are the main stories on the front page of the Daily Monitor.
It's the same story on the front page of the New Vision. LC1, LC2 poll sets for March, and government earmarks 57 billion shillings for the exercise. Let's cross over now to Tanzania. Mwananchi, dawa ya kuzuia VVU sasa rasmi. Anasema kwamba ni sindano ya lenacapavir ambayo imesajiliwa nchini kudhibiti na kuzuia maambukizi ya VVU kutumika pia kama mbadala wa ARV. Wadau waeleza furaha yao, serikali yasisitiza tahadhari bado muhimu. That's the main story on the front page of gazeti la Mwananchi. The same story is also making headlines in Uganda. That drug, lenacapavir, also, they're receiving their first batch today. We received our first batch on 17th of February this month, but there's a newspaper that has highlighted that rollout starts tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes.
It is the same story on the front page of the Citizen, meaning that this is perhaps the biggest story across the region. If we take a headline for the East African region, it will be this drug, HIV drug. Hope as Tanzania approves HIV prevention and treatment drug. So this is a common story across the entire East Africa. Health practitioners in Tanzania are optimistic after the official registration of lenacapavir, a long-acting injectable drug for HIV prevention and treatment, a move seen as a major step forward in the fight against HIV, against the virus. This one is in Uganda, it's in Tanzania, it is also in Kenya. Big story. Other stories here, Samia vows stronger modern military. Na pale Rais Samia, I think this is a very interesting photo, holding a weapon. This is the first time I've seen her holding a weapon. Very interesting. That's a Citizen in Tanzania. Let's take a look at the caricature this morning. Cartoonist wanasema nini, na tunaanza na the one on the Daily Nation. So this cartoon has tear gas flying all over. Kuna polisi on one side with the police bosses, the interior rank and file led by the CS, there's IG of police, the PS. Those accusations of who is behind the ownership of some of the military grade weapons that have been used in some of the rallies that we've seen, including ile ilikuwa inafunikiwa kama bangi ya jana huko Kakamega. Sema funikia hiyo. So the ownership has been in dispute. So I remember the CS for Interior saying that, accusing the opposition that some of them are even going to rallies with tear gas. And this is the Interior CS saying this. On the other side, the opposition guy is saying this is a police thing. So according to this cartoon, the tear gas itself is embarrassed. Yes. So tear gas notes with embarrassment its association with the Interior Ministry. Hata tear gas imechoka bana. Anyway, interesting. That's a cartoon take on the Daily Nation today.
All right. The one on the People Daily standoff stake, there's two sides here. One side says we will not start a meeting before the government provides us with police security. Then the government provides police security, and the other side says, as you can see, the government has sent the police to kill us. Our police dilemma. So
those are two cartoons talking about security around political events. The one on the Standard takes a different tangent. It's about the Leadership and Integrity Act. We have a caricature of two CSs here, the one for mining and the one for energy. That's Ali Hassan Joho na yule mwingine anaitwa Opio Wandai. Wamekanyaga ile mpira ya Linda Ground. Their involvement, active involvement in politics as CSs. So they're asking, Leadership and Integrity Act, hizo ndio nini sasa? Who cares? Let's play the ball. So CSs and whether or not they should be involved in politics. That's a standard.
All right, finally, the one on the Star, Linda votes. Kuna mtu hapa, former Interior CS Fred Matiang'i. Juzi amesema vile alilinda exam, Samia is back. Ndivyo atalinda kura. Wewe hautaiba kura zetu. That's what he said.
All right.
And that's what the cartoonist on the Star is talking about. These are the stories making headlines locally and regionally. Let's come back and take a look at the state of the traffic in Nairobi.
It's exactly a minute to 6:30. This is how the roads in Nairobi are looking like. Quite a bit of busy traffic at Garden City Mall along Thika Road. Long stretches of yellow and red up north of Thika Road as well. Areas around KU, Kahawa, Wendani, and areas around Kasarani as well. More traffic, but moving at least. But once you get to the Pangani interchange, kama kawaida, it's slowing down, starting from the Utali Drift all the way into Muranga Road. The other major tributary into town is Jogoo Road, and it's looking very busy all the way from that Buruburu Junction into Jogoo Road. A long stretch of red all the way past that Likoni Road junction, pale St. Stephen's Jogoo Road, imeendelea mpaka pale ile junction ya kwenda Isili. After that, Shauri Moyo is getting busy. Mudhurwa is also getting busy on both sides of the road, nothing to worry about. And Haile Selassie Avenue all the way on both sides of the road from Uhuru Highway all the way to that Landis Road roundabout. It's getting busy. Pale Railway Bus Station, hiyo roundabout imejaa magari pale. Kama hujafika town, avoid these areas. The other problem, not really a problem, this is normal traffic on Outer Ring Road, areas around Feather and Pipeline, matatu zikibeba watu kuingia town. But I think mahali kuna shida sasa ni ile Eastern Bypass. That stretch all the way from Tawala up to that junction, ile roundabout ya pale KQ headquarters, there's a long stretch of red there once you get there. And after that, it's building up all the way past Taj Mall, all the way to the City Cabanas interchange. Other major tributaries are Mombasa Road looking green all the way into town, and the other western side of the city, Wayaki Way, past Gitaru, Kabete, Kangemi, all the way into town. It's looking green. So normal traffic, but usual trouble spots at Pangani and Makadara on Jogoo Road.
All right, that's the traffic situation. 6:30 a.m. Talk to us on our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook, and on YouTube and X at TV47 Digital. Once again, our question of the day, what we're asking you this morning, are women the new problem in modern relationships? Use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47. Tell us what you think. You can tag us at _Dida is my handle.
At Fred Indimuli on X.
See you after the break. All right, we'll see you after the break. after the break.
All right, good morning and welcome back. This is the Morning Cafe on TV47. My name is Fred Ndimuli. Time for the State of the Nation, taking a look at the big headlines. This morning we're privileged to be having with us Esther Passaris, Woman Representative, Nairobi County. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
And Bwana Kiplagat, who's the MP Soi. Karibu sana, David Kiplagat. It's a pleasure to have you two members of the National Assembly.
Asante.
Karibu sana. Very interesting discussions, and we'll be having our Kili joining the panel later. Discussions, of course, we'll be taking a look at matter security around this electioneering period. Later on, hoping to have that debate around the Deputy President's position and who should be the running mate to President William Ruto. But that will come later. For now, the big question we're asking this morning is on the possibility of a third force, what we've seen under the headline Linda Mwananchi, and whether it is a real third force or something that will simply end up in a dilution of either the broad-based arrangement or the united opposition. We'll be looking at that. The headlines today seem to suggest something different, that Sifuna says is open to an alliance with united opposition, and the question I think people are asking us is Sifuna alone or the entire Linda Mwananchi movement. On the Taifa Leo it says lengo ni one term. Namnukuu Senator wa Nairobi Edwin Sifuna anasema mkuu wa Orange Democratic Movement, katibu mkuu, he's still SG. Yes. Edwin Sifuna amefuchua kuwa wakati wake ndani ya chama hicho kikubwa cha upinzani unakaribia kuisha, huku akielezea uwezekano wa kujiunga na muungano wa upinzani. Kauli hiyo inaashiria kuwa mjadala wa one term unaoendelezwa na vuguvugu la Linda Mwananchi na muungano wa upinzani umepangwa kufanikisha azma ya kumshinda Rais William Ruto katika uchaguzi mkuu ujao. Kabla tusikize walivyosema wengi, let's have that question, the question we are asking today. So the question we're asking is Kenya ready for a credible third political force, or would it simply split votes and weaken coalitions? Once again, the question we're asking is Kenya ready for a credible third political force, or would it simply split votes and weaken coalitions? Make sure you use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47 as you engage with us in all our social media pages, TV47 Kenya on Facebook, and on YouTube, it is TV47 Digital. On X, my handle on X is at Fred Ndimuli. So let's engage on this, and let's start with you, Madam Passaris, because you've been very vocal and you have worked closely with Edwin Sifuna. In your recent interview with Radio 47, you actually revealed about a conversation you had with him, and just wondering what really drives his recent moves. But do you now believe, because the indication even on the front page of the Taifa Leo is that he is actually seeing the end in as far as his involvement in ODM circles?
He's seeing the end?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, we're going to have an NDC on the 27th of March. And I think that we'll be able to give our party direction. Remember, when a political party that is 20 years old, with its party leader as Raila Odinga, an enigma, a person who has taught us democracy, who has taught us devolution, who has taught us about development, dies, it shakes. You know, it shakes the organization. But we have good people and we have amazing structures. I mean, the one thing I can tell you about ODM is the structures are very strong. And we made a decision as the National Executive Council. Of course, the courts issued an order that he has not been removed. But you cannot be placed into a political party by the courts. Mm-hmm. It has to be by the structures of the party. And I believe our structures and our supporters, many of whom are supporting the current party leader. I see it online. Mm-hmm. There is a huge support. Of course, there's the bloggers who try and ridicule our party leader, who's the brother of the late Raila Odinga. But for me, I feel that Sifuna, for a long, long time, spoke against the direction that BAMBA was going. BAMBA was in the 10-point agenda. BAMBA was clearly supporting William Samoei Ruto. And I remember one of the functions that BAMBA spoke about, it was about the airport. And of course, remember when we had the Adani contract, there was a lot of hue and cry about expanding our airport. And it's long overdue. Our airports really need a PPP to bring them to international standards with the kind of tourists we want to manage. So BAMBA spoke for it. But if you have to ask Sifuna, he would probably be against it. He will be against anything that William Samoei Ruto is doing. He can't see good in anything that William Samoei Ruto does. And that is a shame, because when you are a party that is in a 10-point agenda, in a broad-based government, where our own respected, highly respected, I mean, people like Joho and Badi and Wanga are far, they are more entrenched in the philosophies and principles of ODM than Sifuna ever was or ever will be.
Do you think that this, if even away from Sifuna, because it's almost more or less a movement now, involving other individuals, Babu Owino, James Orengo, and all these people, Godfrey Osotsi, and now it's big, and going by the events we've seen, the rallies in Kitengela, in Kakamega, in Busia, the feeling was that it's probably the creation of a third force, a potential third force. Now, the question is, would this result in a dilution of what you're working on as a broad-based arrangement, or probably even on the other side, or do you think that time is ripe for a third force?
Look, I mean, we had the using the word third force. I remember we had Akuro Court, who was the president, Third Way Alliance, he was also creating the third force. Look, Kenya, what I know about Kenya's politics is that we are split 50-50. It's definitely going to be probably
it's always a two-horse race.
Yeah, it's always a two-horse race. And it's, even when Baba was there, we had a 50-50, a split. But now the advantage that the president has is that he has his base, and then he's got a bit of ODM, all right? And I believe that as we get closer to the elections, people will start looking at issues. We need to look at issues when it comes to Kenya. Okay. And the issues are, what have we achieved from independence? I mean, when I look at William Samoei Ruto, just the teachers, if you look at just the teachers in this country, okay, right? The fact that he is the one president who employed 100,000 teachers, I mean, for me, that is big.
All right.
Okay.
And we'll come to discuss such issues. But Bwana Kiplagat, on this issue of a possibility of a third force, a lot has changed in our politics. Raila Odinga will not be there in 2027. Okay. Historically, and I think for the last almost 3 decades, it's been Raila Odinga against the incumbent, Raila Odinga against the incumbent. Now, without Raila Odinga, the possibility that the field will somewhat change dramatically could offer the possibility of a third force. Do you think this is a time that probably there are people who do not buy into what the united opposition are offering, and they also do not buy into what the broad-based arrangement is for?
Okay. Thanks, Indimuli. I think what I want to say is that if you look at Kenyan politics, they are built around personalities. And it's actually the movement of a political party is actually built on the enigma of that political party, the leader of that political party. And when that leader exits stage, naturally it happens that things will crumble. And I think that is what is actually affecting ODM. Mm-hmm. And to say that you will maintain ODM the way Baba was is actually living in an illusion, kind of. So these are things you expect, and whichever directions that will happen, time will tell. The beauty, as in Kenya Kwanza, UDA and the coalition forming it, is that our agenda, which is being led by the President William Samoei Ruto, is actually based on performance.
It's interesting that you talk about Kenya Kwanza and ignoring the coalition that's coming up with ODM.
I will come to that. It is actually based on the performance. And that performance is what you see the president daily working on it to make sure that at least we change Kenya and we head towards Singapore. Of course, you have to be alive with Kenyan politics. Kenyan politics somehow a certain percentage pursue the politics of regionalism. And that is what we are trying to crack, to make sure that we no longer look at the tribal politics, but we look at the leader of what he has been able to perform. And looking at what this government has been able to achieve, I think everybody appreciates we are headed in the right direction. We look at all all the sectors, things are looking positive. And we believe at the end of the day, there are majority of Kenyans, when they are going to vote, they'll base on the performance of the government, which will be a multitude. Now, when it comes now to the Kenyan politics, of course, we have to build coalitions that will make us win. And in building coalitions, I hold the view that it's important that, if possible, we strengthen ODM under the broad-based. But the reality is that you look at the segments. We shall have the coastal region, you have the Nyanza region, you have the western region, you have all these regions that initially... You have
the Gen Z as well.
Yeah, of course, Gen Z is now a different, I'll talk to that as a different, it's a different agenda altogether. Whether they will register as voters is another thing, because currently the appetite for them to register is still low. So we are yet to see what will be their effect on the coming election, but so far the dynamics are still the same. So my advice is that as we look at the broad-based, it's also important that what I'm seeing as we head towards the 2027, most of the regions will tend to coalesce together. So we'll have the coastal region, whether they will be in ODM or they will be alone. The beauty is they support the president.
Do you still believe, like Madam Masaris, because you're going the same way, do you believe it's just going to be a two-horse race? Because my question is about the possibility of a third horse.
Of course, Kenya, whether you like it or not, it will be a two-horse race. Because what happens? Even the constitution, as it is, demands a two-horse race.
Let's welcome Wakili Harrison Kinyanjui into the conversation. Wakili, karibu sana. And good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Wakili,
good morning, Mishima.
Kinyanjui is a social-political commentator and advocate of the High Court. It's good to have you in this conversation. We are talking about the possibility of a third force and what that would mean for the two major formations. According to the members of the National Assembly that we have here, Madam Pasaris and Bwana Kiplagat, they say and they believe that the elections next year will still end up as a two-horse race.
No, I didn't finish.
Yes, back to you.
So what I'm saying is that two-horse race, even constitutionally, it demands that it has to be a two-horse race. Even if you go to the third force.
The Constitution does not demand a two-horse race.
Because at the end of the day, it's 50 plus 1. So 50 plus 1, you can only get in a two.
There's some obvious results from a third force.
What I'm saying, may I finish?
No, because I need to challenge what you've just said. You said the Constitution provides for a two-horse race, Bwana Kiplagat.
Because it does not. 50 plus 1. Logically.
Yes.
Because of the
but that would result from the probability that a third force forced a runoff.
If you have a third force that is more stronger,
yes,
the chances of it will go to a runoff, which will also be a two-horse race. So chances of maintaining the two-horse race will be there. But usually coalitions are built to win, and when they are built to win, logically that appetite of having a two-horse race will be high. But I wanted first of all to explain, to finish what I was coming up with. I was coming up with the fact that at the end of the day, as we are building coalitions, we shall be dissecting region by region, and in the dissecting of the region by region, there will be the northeastern block, there will be the coastal block, there will be the Nyanza block, there will be what I would just want to state categorically: the number 1 and number 2 in the process of the broad-based. I think we should not, although I don't want to jump the gun.
No. Let's not go there now. We'll come to that conversation about number 1 and number 2.
Now,
let's engage Wakili on this. Because I feel you're diverting from the question. Because I'm asking about the
on the third.
Yeah.
It is a wait and see, because currently, where the people who are trying to push the third force is the young generation.
Yes.
That's where the appetite is the young generation.
Do you think such a third force would dilute?
You see, that third force, the only problem is that if you look at the current voter listing, they are not yet registered as voters. So even if they try even if they try to coalesce through the third force and they don't have the tools,
okay,
then it becomes something that is important from the word go.
A 50-50 is so obvious, even without Baba Raila Odinga, or do you really feel that this time round our politics is ripe for a proper third force? And what kind of effect would such a force have?
Thank you very much. And good morning. Good morning to Aishima. Before I answer your question, I must wonder at the suspension of even the law. Because when he says that actually it is intended that we have only two political streams, I wonder where he gets our concept. He's supposed to be upholding the Constitution. He swore when he took the oath to represent his people. And this is a bane of our National Assembly, that we have people fixated with defending the indefensible, and they suspend what is real, what is written in the Constitution. What do they understand by multi-party democracy? Maybe they have a different concept. But you can see the exempling of the problems that we have in this country, where the Kenyan people are totally fed up. Are you reading what I am reading? Honestly? Where did you get the two? Why do you want to railroad me into your UDA and whatever other that you want? You can't. Take it or leave it, that every Kenyan has a right to their political rights under the Constitution, whatever it is that they want to elect, whether it's UDA or something else. We must respect that right. And this is the intolerance that is seeping through UDA and its acolytes, like him, with respect. But you can see he's there agitating. I'm not getting personal. I'm just saying because you told him you're deflecting from the question. And he insisted, he clung onto it. And he said, when you come to 50+1, that's why I thought it necessary, at least to voice this concern that, wait a minute, are our members of the National Assembly that are rooted in UDA so blind to the Constitution? I don't want to say that about him, but you know that. But having said that, we have a social dynamic right now as we speak because of the reality of our youth population, the Gen Zs. That's a reality that UDA has not come alive to. And a whole lot of other people are not appreciating that Sifuna and possibly Babu Wino and the younger members of the National Assembly or the Senate are representing that constituency, that voice. And it's getting stronger by the day. Defiant to the political status quo? Yes. Insistent on a change? Yes. And what are they saying? You cannot override me because of your hunger and greed for power. You cannot trample on my right to articulate that which is my enfranchisement rights in the Constitution. And you have to listen to me. Take it or leave it. And this is a voice that they are not willing to live with or accost and say that, well, we have the reality. What do we do? What are they doing? They are doing everything to suppress that particular voicing. And now, coming to the issue, is this the emergence, the mushrooming, as it were, of a third force? Yes. Is it going to be impacting the election? To their shock and surprise, the UDA brigade specifically, they are going to see this youth possibly between now and 2027 registering and articulating their political position.
But you also understand that if at all a third force would affect the broad-based arrangement, the same effect would be on the United Opposition side. That is, they represent the status quo as well. It is the effect that such a force would have on the status quo as it is.
Yes.
There are suggestions that Sifuna may align himself with the United Opposition. Do you think that that is a reality? Or if at all they choose to go as a third force to the end, how does this affect both sides of the political divide as it is right now?
Well,
not just the UDA side.
Well, you see, to begin with, the intolerance in UDA is going to leave a lot of sour grapes in a lot of people. And they who are banking on UDA for re-election or probably forming the next government, the exempling is there in ODM for everybody to see that there is that group which is represented by the Odingas, for instance, the older generation, and there is now the younger generation represented by Sifuna. You can see the factions in ODM. And let's not belabor the point that these crowds that are coming in Sifuna's, Babu Wino's, Orengo's meetings, these are organic. They are not bussed, they are not paid, they are showing up. By contrast, when you look at the other wing of ODM, they have a thinned out attendance. What does that say? The shift is going to be heavier as we progress because of disaffection with the policies, and especially the voicing of support of UDA's re-election in government by ODM. So it is going to place a huge disequilibrium on the quote-unquote UDA, the ruling Kenya Kwanza, because, and principally, the likes of Mheshimiwa, and with respect again to him, if he is offering himself re-election, for re-election on the UDA ticket, and the UDA we have become unpopular as we progress, with tremendous respect to them. Whatever the president likes to see that he has done, A, B, or C, the reality on the ground, Mheshimiwa is a representative here in Nairobi, is that the Nairobian, for instance, is leaving not even hand to mouth. It is the hand to hand, like that. So, in the end, the opposition will somehow benefit.
They stand to benefit more.
They stand to benefit more because, you see...
Even if the third force goes all the way to the election?
Absolutely, absolutely. And then this is going to be a decimation, a thinning out of the UDA support, which, unfortunately, they are not willing to accept.
Right. Hold that thought there. Let's get the views from our viewers. What do you think about what we're talking about? Is the possibility of a third force a reality in Kenyan politics today? Or will it simply result in a dilution of the status quo, both the opposition and the broad-based arrangement? And what are people saying?
All right. Once again, our question of the day, Fred. Is Kenya ready for a credible third political force, or would it simply split votes and weaken coalitions? The hashtag is Morning Cafe TV 47. Azai Otieno says, no, all the opposition parties must unite because the country's priority now is to oust Ruto, and that is their common agenda. Credible third force will split opposition votes and reduce Ruto's margin of loss, making it easy for him to rig. Edward Bitonyi says, hi, hii Kenya lazima ibadilike. Dismas Ateka, which third political force, even if Uhuru Kenyatta akona pesa, hawezi peana kwa Matiang'i, tena kwa kina Sifuna, but kwa sai, Uhuru Kenyatta is sponsoring both Matiang'i and Sifuna. Sky Tikarish says, third force ni wasaliti, ukweli mapema. We also have some videos. Let's take a look at them.
My name is Victor Sankara from Kasarani here in Nairobi. And yes, Kenya is ripe for a third force because the political architecture of the Kenyan elections has been a two-horse race, pitting two broad coalitions against each other. But now with the emergence of the Linda Mwananchi grouping, which is now emerging as a third force, gives Kenyans a real choice, because the two broad coalitions are usually just two sides of the same coin. But however, for this to be advantageous, the third force must have ideological clarity and also build grassroots networks. And if they do that, they can even make the formation bigger than the existing formations.
So yes, Kenya's politics has always revolved around alliances. From NAC in 2002 to NASA and Azimio coalitions have shaped two wins and how government is formed. A third alliance could be healthy. It might bring fresh leadership, unite communities outside the two dominant blocs, as we know, NASA and Azimio for the previous election, and give smaller parties a stronger voice. But the risk could be real. It could split votes, weaken opposition or during coalitions or ruling coalitions, and create instability. If it's built only on personalities rather than policy, then it might work. So is Kenya ready? Yes. If the alliance is issue-driven, inclusive, and visionary, it is. If it's just another tactical move, it risks fragmenting the vote without delivering real change. The real test is whether it serves the people, not just the politicians.
All right, these are just some of your feedbacks, and we do encourage you to send them as they come. Once again, the question we're asking you this morning, is Kenya ready for a credible third political force, or would it simply split votes and weaken coalitions? Use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV 47. It's TV 47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube and on X at TV 47 Digital. Now, one of our viewers says, a coalition, a third-party coalition would work, a third party would work, but with grassroots connection. Pasaris, would that work?
Yes, go ahead.
What?
Do you think now, when you get a second round, after hearing the views of the people, opinion is split actually, and quite a number of people feel time is ripe for a third force?
Okay, so when I look at a third force, I look at right now, they're looking at Linda Mwananchi and they're thinking it was a two-horse race. We had the United Opposition, and then we had the broad-based, and now there's Linda Mwananchi. But one of the commentators said, one of the audience that called in said that they can see Uhuru Kenyatta, and that's a very important point to note. They can see Uhuru Kenyatta almost everywhere. He's with Sifuna, he's with Matiang'i, he's with Azimio, which is Kalonzo Musyoka. So I think this is very sad for me, and I've said it before. I mean, Uhuru Kenyatta is the only living president. He had the honor, of serving this country for 10 years. And William Samoei Ruto was his deputy. But unfortunately, he hasn't got over the fact that William Samoei Ruto beat him, all right? He wasn't able to deliver presidency to Azimio for whatever reason, okay? And for me, if you were a president of this country, and I feel nostalgic when I think of all including Raila not being there. I mean, the fact that Raila was there, even when Uhuru is there, he went into a broad base. It took a lot of courage for Raila to do that, but that was the man Raila. Raila always put the country first. And the one thing I want Uhuru Kenyatta to do is to think of the country first. And I feel that anybody who has led this country, including him, in whatever position, can see very clearly that William Samoei Ruto is a man on a mission to fix the wrongs from independence, all right? So you can't criticize everything about someone.
But do you think, now that you've mentioned Uhuru Kenyatta, don't you think that probably with Uhuru Kenyatta backing a possible third force, that this could be...
He's backing every force. His agenda is one, get William Ruto out, all right? And the fact is, get William Ruto out. Does that serve Kenyans? I mean, we have got programs in this country right now that he was not able to deliver on. All right? And we've got a way to get rid of debt and sell assets that are not good for the country. I mean, you can't have a government that owns hotels that are actually just sitting idle. Assets that can be sold and then put into actually serving Kenyans without borrowing money.
We are in the electioneering period.
Look, let me tell you something. Kenya is perpetually on an electioneering period. I mean, the minute we swear in a president, elections start. And I really wish we could make laws that say 3 months or 6 months to elections is when we campaign, not throughout the 5-year tenure.
It is 18 months to election date. Yes. By all standards in Kenya, this is campaign period. Isn't it right for people to declare their ambitions this early? Even you, Madam Passario, you've already declared your ambition. You have already declared whether or not you're running for the same seat. Everyone is in an electioneering period. It is not enough to just say William Ruto has done this or that. We are working with the reality that people are already declaring their interest in the elections in 2027. A third force, listening to all the comments have been.
So maybe before I go to that, I would like to respond on what Wakili said about UDA and all the bashing he actually said. I think the argument we had is that logically, at the end of the day, although everyone is free to come with his own horse or dog or anything, a zebra or something, nobody is denied that. But the fact we are saying at the end of the day, majority will coalesce through the two coalitions. Okay. That was a bit, it wasn't that we are saying...
Even with Uhuru Kenyatta backing the third force according to what she has said.
It wasn't saying that we have said this, there will be only two coalitions, whether you like it or not. I think he missed the point, and sometimes good when you come, you listen first.
I think you walked into that one yourself, when you said the Constitution provides for that.
I was saying, even the Constitution, the fact that it is premised on 50+1, naturally will build two coalitions.
I think we're in agreement there.
We're in agreement.
It's only that probably putting the constitution was a bit off.
So the democracy has not been thrown out of the window. So he's free. If he has his zebra, he can come with it, and we'll see how far it will go. So
no third horse.
Yeah. So having said that. You are talking about Kenya. We like campaigning. I don't know why. We really have to find a way in which some can work and some can campaign. And as you can see very well, the president is really trying. He's really trying to build the infrastructure fund away from the normal ballooning debt, so that we can be able to move our country in terms of the development and the macro structure to grow. But within there are so many noise of politicians who are campaigning all over.
But it is a reality.
It is a reality. I'm saying it is a reality that we live in Kenya, where the appetite, the political appetite is so huge that we have to find a way of working. Even us, even us at our level for constituency seats and governors and all man, we are people who have been campaigning for the last 2 years again. So it is there.
Brought up the issue of Uhuru Kenyatta.
We have to find.
Do you believe that any force with such muscle behind them,
I think sometimes
would actually be credible?
Should not be crying over soul crepes. You know Uhuru Kenyatta was our leader, was our president, and he retired. I don't know what is this appetite that you have to come out of the retirement to come and confuse the systems. And you know, sometimes even if you hate someone, just find your way of forgiving and relaxing.
So you also agree that he could be behind this third force?
Of course. You can see sometimes.
It was the public who said it.
You can see from the top, and I think he's so inclined that anything that can build a momentum is there. Anything that can build a momentum is there. But that is Kenya. We should not be. I believe, as a strong politician, we should not be crying all over. Thinking we'll deal with it. You'll
deal with it as it comes. Wakili, final word on this, because now the accusation is that Uhuru Kenyatta is a muscle behind this third force. If at all it is true, don't you think that this time round, with such muscle behind a third force, then this third force, if at all you may call it that, would go all the way to the elections next?
Fred, Kenyans don't care whether it's Uhuru or Moi who will revive from the grave to get rid of the oppression. That yoke is too heavy under UDA. And they're getting rattled when they hear the Kenyans say, one term. Why? They are saying, we cannot tolerate these 11 billion disappearing anyhow and somehow and swept under the carpet through Shah. We cannot tolerate this new stadium. We're being told, oh, Talanta Stadium is yours for the asking. This is what you want it for. But the Auditor General flags that expenditure and says, we cannot see this whole of 11 billion. Kenyans are fed up. They're tired. And they're saying, look, if it takes Uhuru to give you that one term like Botswana, so be it. Welcome. That is what the position where Kenyans are. And they are saying, we are simply fed up. And somehow Ruto feels and thinks that, you know, Uhuru is so obsessed with him. Uhuru is not obsessed with him, howsoever. In fact, if I was to ask Uhuru a very personal question, how often do you think about Ruto? And probably he might say, it's
every second.
It's so abhorrent, I don't want to think about it, because I'm so passionate about good governance.
Oh, wow.
And you see, so I'm saying in a nutshell, just to answer your question, Kenyans saying that, welcome, if you want to bankroll this ouster, go ahead. It's all good with us.
All right.
And again, it's within his political rights. Let us not forget that as a Kenyan, the constitutional rights to enfranchisement apply to him.
All right.
And therefore, you cannot deny that. I mean, of him and from him. So let's live with it. Let's accept it. And lastly, UDA will continue. Itawauma. It's going to get, absolutely, it's going to get... Pili ntawasha hiyo jamini.
And as you say,
it's going to get tough.
I know that you would want to respond, but not now, just not now. Allow us to listen, because I think the headlines have thrown a spanner into the works of this discussion. We were hoping to talk about the third force, but already there is an indication that this movement could eventually align itself with one of either the broad-based or the united opposition. Lengo ni one term, according to the front page of Taifa Leo. But let's listen to what these individuals have said about the third force going forward.
Makosa yangu kubwa sana, nimesema kwamba Ruto 2027 lazima aende nyumbani.
Not expelling anybody from the party, but anybody who feels that he is uncomfortable with us can leave if he likes.
Ndiye anaongoza chama cha OD, ile kikundi kingine sio chama cha ODM, hiyo ni kikundi kingine hatuelewi.
Very final words. I know you'd want to respond to this. We need to discuss something
yes,
else. So very briefly on this one.
Look, I mean, for me, ODM, as I said, Baba founded a party over 20 years, and it has structures. And we respect our structures. Even Baba respected our structures. So our structures are such that we made decisions, and of course, we said, you know, the SG is not aligning with what the party has put in place. Our party leader is Dr. Oburu Odinga, and he doesn't respect that. So the fact that when he's in Siaya or in Tononoka, you are in Kajiado or Kakamega, that shows that you are not the SG of the party. For me, I want to say something. The Kenyans, these are Kenyans. These are Kenyans who come to our rallies, they go to the New Kid on the Block's rallies, okay? And, you know, it's excitement. First of all, I think the music is amazing. You know, I mean, Kenyans love to go, dance, whatever.
You say you went with the DJ.
Yeah? Yes, exactly. Went with the DJ. I mean, come on. You saw even when we had the Gen Z, it was all music, dance, you know, selfies, etc. It's that generation, and it's fine, and it's lovely, and it's our children. But when push comes to shove, we have a crisis in this country of unemployment. We never managed our population. And that was something that Tom Mboya talked about in Independence. When Tom Mboya had his first interview, and it's on YouTube, in 1960s, and he was asked, what are your plans now that your country is independent? And he goes, to check our population so that we can make sure that we grow and stabilize economically. We were coming from colonialism. We never checked our population. It has become explosive. We have to deal with it. And for me, the project on housing and what William Ruto did to get housing going, that has employed over 1 million people, right? And it's, I mean, the other day we were going to the Nairobi River commissioning projects, and you see all these Kenyans. Those Kenyans are not on rallies, they are working and building Kenya. I want to reach a day when a politician calls a rally and nobody's coming because everybody's working.
You also expressed doubt that this excitement may not necessarily be converted into a proper vote because the Gen Zs who are showing up for the rallies are not registered. But don't you think that if they get excited enough, they could actually change their minds and register?
Oh, they'll register.
Mm-hmm. I think for this Sifuna group and the split, because currently it is within ODM, it is not something that is outside there. It is the fight between the two groups of ODM. And I think the final determination, as Honorable Basaris has said, it will be done on 27th of March when the NDC will settle. And after that settlement, then we shall see what this group of Sifuna will come up with. I believe at the end of the day, there are so many dynamics that makes a coalition to work. And you give it to our president is one looking at his history who knows how to build coalitions, and the broad-based will be strengthened. Apart from ODM, so many other groups will
even with the exit of this movement.
Of course, with the exit, you know, at the end of the day, the cup has to be full. So if another group goes, you feel with another one. You know, at the end of the day, you have to build coalitions. And we are not fixated in terms of building that coalition. What we know, the only fixation we have is that we have to build a coalition that will see us through 2027. And I believe and trust the technical argument of our president to build a winning coalition. So whichever is happening to ODM is an internal issue, which they will sort it themselves. And at the end of the day, the group, because chances are by 27th of March, they'll be out. Sifuna will be out with this group. Now, how that builds along, I wish they could agree, I don't know.
Because it will make for a better coalition if at all is on your side.
They could sit down and agree.
But it sounds like they're going on the other side.
If they go on their own, but chances, I know, at the end of the day, when we are building coalitions, we are not going to look at the party as a monolithic group. We have to look at region by region by region by region.
Finally, are you optimistic, Wakili, given the headlines, Lengo ni one term, they look like they're going towards the united opposition, this grouping? Would you rather they stayed the course till the end, or is this favorable to you as well?
But this is organic. You can't stop it. You can't stop it. I am surprised that the UD brigade is out there, lamenting. There are deep lamentations that, we wish that ODM wouldn't go the way it is. So that we can make a strong coalition. Come on, live with the fact that Sifuna announced way before Raila Odinga died that we are in this because of the 10-point agreement, not because of re-election. Now, the Ruto camp, they mutated everything about that unity into re-election, buried and forgot everything about the 10-point agenda. Wanga tried to revive it in vain, but the people on the ground, excuse me, are saying, Sifuna, you've stood the ground. Before Raila died, and now, you've been articulating what we said. Let us see this 10-point agenda being met before we can even see it and discuss about the re-election. So this, unfortunately for UDA, will mutate more and more into a faction of ODM that is unstoppable. And what Mheshimiwa was saying is that, on the 27th of March, Sifuna will be out. And that now will be a closed chapter. Really? That's living in a fool's paradise with respect to him. Why? Because Sifuna will be unstoppable. When you hear Kenyans in Kitengela, in Kajiado, or in Turkana saying, Mimi ni Sifuna, Sifuna ni Mimi, what are they saying? They are owning up what he stands for, not necessarily the faction of ODM. That he is representing. So even if they snuff out his SG position, or for it is some nondescript person, with respect, I mean, they're digging their own grave and they're digging deeper as we look and stare. And what better option than for us to look at them and tell them that, oh my goodness, what a demise, one term.
Let's one more time check out what our viewers are saying online.
All right, the Sisi Sifuna narrative continues, and I can hear Wakili is also strong on that, Sisi ni Sifuna. Once again, our question of the day that we're asking you this morning with regard to that conversation is Kenya ready for a credible third political force, or will it simply split votes and weaken coalitions? The hashtag to use is Morning Cafe TV 47. Let's listen to some of the voice notes we've received this morning.
Good morning, Morning Cafe. I'm John Waviru from Nairobi. As far as the third force is concerned, no, not yet. I think we are not yet at a place of discussing politics of ideology and meritocracy. They're still hiding behind political, tribal, regional formations. We're still at a point where leaders are seen as leaders of a particular group and are perceived as such and welcomed as such rather than national leaders. So up to a point when that will change, maybe we'll be ready. But for now, I don't think so.
Good morning, Morning Cafe. This is Obren, watching live from Dagoretti, South Nairobi. On the question of whether Kenya is ready for a credible third political force, I believe the country is really ready, but only if that force is built on ideas and not personalities. For a long time, our politics has revolved around coalitions formed around individuals rather than clear policy agendas. And a third force should not just exist to split the votes. It should exist to challenge the status quo, offer practical economic solutions, and attract young people who feel politically homeless. If it is simply a rebranding of old faces, it will weaken alliances. But if it is visionary, structured, and issue-driven, it could redefine Kenya's political landscape completely.
Good morning. I'd say that Kenya is not ready for a third political force, and it's simply going to split votes and further weaken coalitions. Why? This is majorly because I believe that the more persons we have vying, the more attentions and loyalties are divided amongst our people. So I think a smart move, for instance, when you speak of the united opposition, would be to pick one candidate and then push for that. Because if we have more candidates, that means that the votes get to be split and directed in very many different directions. In the eventuality, we end up not having a winner. And rather, the person we're trying to maybe not elect ends up getting elected because they had a solid stand and they really picked someone and pushed for that person to get into the seat.
All right, these are just some of your WhatsApp voice notes that you've sent us on WhatsApp, and we do encourage you to continue sending them. Our WhatsApp number will be displayed on your screen very shortly, but let's continue with the feedback and take a look at what you're saying on YouTube. Dennis Odhiambo says, if the statement I had coming from Rigi G when he was in Kisii that Raila was a broker, then Sifuna is telling us that is like-minded party leader to ODM, then Mimi sio Sifuna.
Yeah, good.
We have some more. Historian Alex says, less than 18 months to the polls. Kenyans should be hearing alternative policies and not bravado. We are not in a ugali eating competition. Sibona Chungo, naona Sifuna ukianguka kura if you dare seek re-election. People who elected you haven't felt your presence in advocating for service delivery to them. And Lord Henry says, in the beginning there was Edwin Sifuna and Sifuna was with us and Sifuna was us. Sisi ndio Sifuna, babu kwa sababu. Once again, voice notes. The number is already on your screen, 0793267279. Send us your feedback. You're watching Morning Cafe. Fred?
All right, thank you so much, Anne. Remember, guys, the question we're asking is Kenya ready for a credible third political force, or would it simply split votes and weaken coalitions? You can hear people very fast to defend their favored coalitions, but the question is, would a third force dilute that excitement around their coalition building currently? Keep your feedback coming through our various social media pages, but now we want to move on to a different discussion because of time. And our reference point is the Standard this morning. Whose goons? And the picture there of the PS in charge of Interior, Raymond Omolo, plastered there on the front page. He finds himself on the front page. Mama, I've made it, he should be doing that now. I don't think I've seen him on the front page like this. I know. So they say Interior PS Raymond Omolo is cast as a polished technocrat with a philanthropic touch, but in Nyanza, a dark narrative is taking hold, and I must say it's probably the entire country. As rival camps prepare for bruising political battles ahead of the general election, allegations are mounting that state-backed empowerment networks have morphed into engines of intimidation, with goons shadowing rallies, disrupting meetings, and operating in full glare of the police. Supporters hail decisive leadership. Critics see a dangerous fusion of power, patronage, and fear that could tip a volatile region into chaos. Now, this is a conversation we're having, and I know there have been highlights here and there. The attack in Othaya, some elements, people dying in the rally in Kitengela, another one in Kakamega. But the truth of the matter is a lot of violence and chaos around political alignments is happening across the nation. A lot of that goes unreported. Now, these are some of the sentiments by the top leadership of the security forces in Kenya, including the Interior CS and others. Let's listen to what they had to say with regard to matters security.
say this without fear of contradiction. The only challenge we feel and face as a country is insecurity caused by politicians. Mimi nataka niseme kwamba idara ya usalama iko imara kuhakikisha ya kwamba Wakenya wanaendelea kuishi kwa usalama. Hatuwezi kukubali kwa njia yoyote mtu mwenye atachochea vita kati ya ndugu na ndugu, kati ya jirani, vita za ukabila, cheche za maneno ambayo inaleta malumbano. Sisi tumesema kwamba mtu yoyote mwenye atajihusisha na mambo hayo atachukuliwa hatua ya kisheria.
6 decades after independence, we cannot lose lives because we are trying to help certain people survive in their political offices as it is.
We are on course that nobody should threaten you, that you do not have a right to assemble peaceably, you do not have a right to picket, you do not have a right to hold public opinion. Indeed, we want to assure you that we are so focused.
I want to appeal to the police officers. We are also fighting for their rights. They are also under intense pressure. Their insurance scheme has been buggered. They are crying like all other Kenyans.
Exactly 18 months to election. This is a state of the nation. A lot of chaos and political violence reported across the country, some highlighted in the media, some not. This is what we'll be looking at after the break with my panelists. You're watching Morning Cafe. And yes, indeed, we're back. You're watching Morning Cafe on TV47 with me, Fred Indemuli. I'm still here with Esther Passaris, David Kiplagat, and Wakili Harrison Kinyanjui. And we now want to switch from politics of coalitions and the possibility of a third force to now the other issues of security that's around still the political temperatures in this country. Now, it's a sad state of affairs. And even you've already declared interest, Madam Passaris, to run for office. I've seen from media that you're running for MP in Nairobi, in one of the constituencies in Nairobi. As a female politician, you know that there are serious concerns, especially around security of aspirants towards elections as they campaign. The feeling is that, or the faith that you may have is that the security agencies will be able to protect you to a huge extent. Now, for the very first time, we're having a serious question around that it is the police who are accused of being behind some of this, that goons operate without police taking action against them. Police themselves, including even the hierarchy that's beyond the police service, the minister, the CS in charge of interior, talking about how politicians have managed to carry tear gas into their meetings, which is a very serious accusation coming from someone who should be taking control of something like that. Do you feel safe as a female aspirant, first of all, and even as a politician in the city, given the state of affairs?
First of all, I think for women generally, it's really tough. I mean, I started politics in 2007. 2008, I ran in Embakasi when it was 5 constituencies together as one Embakasi. I mean, you know, there were Kenyans who are trying to earn a living for the day, and the only way to earn a living is to rough you up, okay? So, you know, we call them goons. But for me, I have, you know, I've mentored and nurtured quite a few of them. And now I know all the leaders in Nairobi. You know, if I go to any place, I know who are the leaders. Now, let me tell you how it works.
So you've managed to protect yourself.
You know, there's a time when I was running in 2017, I went to speak to a women's group in University of Nairobi, WASWA. And when I was trying to come out, the gates were closed. It was a Friday. The gates were closed. They were all over my car, university students, telling me that I have to take out 100,000 for the weekend. Mm-hmm. I didn't have any cash on me. So I had the OCS's number. I called the OCS and I say, I've been blocked, I can't leave the university. Of course, at that time, there was no broad-based arrangement. Nobody came for me. Mm-hmm. There are times we run into police stations because we're being chased. And even Sifuna knows that. He's been chased quite a few times in Nairobi. We end up in the police station and then, you know, the police station, what can they do? Basically, it's crazy. The problem we have in this country, as I said, we have a population crisis. You have 1 policeman to 600 people, 1 policeman, armed, okay? 600 people come at him, the only thing he has is his gun, all right? So as a society, we need to have respect for the law. We need to have respect for the men in uniform. But that respect has been eroded over the years. We saw them as mtu wa kitu kidogo. We went to police stations and we probably didn't get served. You had to pay for, they didn't have a car, they didn't live well, they have their own frustrations. They're human beings, okay? So, so for me, I feel as a country, we have to be more tolerant of each other. We had the meeting in Siaya. I left properly and I went to the airport. Then I saw videos of all the chairs being broken, the place being chaotic. So I called the youth leader of ODM and I said, what happened after I left Siaya? Was the meeting disrupted? He goes, everybody left and that's what the youth did. So somebody paid the youth, do all this, create all this chaos, take out a video and let's show that the Siaya meeting was disrupted. So we have a population that will earn an income doing the wrong thing, all right? There's a time I went to plant trees in a school in Korogocho, and the gate of the school was closed. The youth demanded money. You cannot go anywhere in this Nairobi without having some pocket change to tell the youth to remove the mkokotenis, remove the motorbikes. We'll be chased. I mean, the express highway has been a savior for us politicians because once you get on the express highway, at least you can run off. But the thing is, we know the leaders. And I think what I like about what Raymond has done, P.S. Raymond has done, is he recognized that we have a number of unemployed youth that are actually being misused by politicians and creating mayhem and chaos in various constituencies. And I believe that he has reformed quite a number of them. He has a program.
So you disagree with this headline because
it
seems to suggest that
let me tell you, I know our ODM supporters. I mean, you've seen it. Even when Baba was getting to a stage, you've seen the way we're passionate. And you know, it's ODM. We've got fire and brand. You know, we fight, we push, we shove, we do all that. And then we've learned to talk to them and say, listen, you know, if you look at somebody like Brayo, who's the youth leader of Nairobi, I mean, if you looked at Brayo 10 years ago and the Brayo you're seeing today, we've seen reforms. We've seen, these are, you know, call them goons, call them whatever, but some of them are being misused, all right? And right now we have a crisis.
Let me tell you,
border is a crisis. But these are people that you can have a border and the whole day you've not made money. Because you've not made money. We've got so many borders. We need to find a way to look at making sure that every industry is able to thrive. Okay. And the problem we're having with the border is some of them have to pay a loan at the end of the month. They've not made money. So what do? Line up and chase a politician. And we've always used them. Yes, we've always used them.
Even beyond the city, when it comes to this issue of insecurity and the issue of border specifically, this is a problem even in constituencies such like Soy, that any politician, even your rival, this border people would be available to them. to come disrupt your rally. And police may not necessarily take action against them. That is the reality of the politics of 2026, 2027. Do you agree that, yes, the senior rank and file of the police service or the security agencies should be taking the blame the same way that this PS is being blamed here?
I think there is something that is, I agree with you, there is something that is really developing in this country where politicians, somehow when they face oppositions in their constituencies, they start other monkey business. And it's sad as we are even talking about goons. We have a former MCA in Eldoret who is fighting for his life after he was actually attacked at night in Eldoret by goons who are well known, and that's a case we are trying to pursue. So it's rather sad that somebody can lose a child just because not being tolerant to the other versions. So it is something the government and the security agencies need to be very serious and nip it in the bud before it gets out of hand. Because you can see as we head towards 2027, if politicians find out that the only way to survive during that campaign is for everyone to have their own gangs, and the famous Jeshi la Mzee, the campaign will be ungovernable. And
don't you think we're already there?
We are there. It's still something that can be controlled.
You've heard the CS Interior speak about this and sound quite tough. Yet the reality of the matter is that weeks after the chaos in Wetima and other places, there has still not been any arrest, despite it being an ongoing investigation. Don't you think that, yes, inaction somewhere, police inaction somewhere, could also become
without blaming,
a case of omission?
Without blaming anyone, this is a security issue that actually needs to be handled and handled well. I doubt whether you need to, we need to do a lot of pronunciations to the cameras. It is something that we really, the security agencies needs to go down on it, and they need to cap it so that we can have control of.
Do you think the police have in any way encouraged this kind of chaos by failing to take action against goons? They've been accused of even accompanying goons in some instances.
Okay. What I just want to say is that this issue of goons will get out of hand if it is not checked, and if it is left to go on the way it is going on. The politicians, I believe, the first people to be investigated are politicians who are actually the owners of the goons. And you know, the police, sometimes they see these goons are associated with so and so and so, so and so and so is close to so and so, they naturally become inept. So that is actually what is affecting the entire system. But because the other group will not, if they see this is the order of business,
everyone will do this.
Everyone will have now for you to survive, because it, as if you look at the theory of I think the Charles Darwin theory of natural selection and survival, you see only the ones who survive in that environment will see will proceed. So if you don't want to die, you get and to be eliminated.
Okay.
And that is the nature of threat. Then, if the security agencies are not able to handle the issue of goons, I can tell you by 2027, every politician will be owning goons.
Yes, and now it's moved from simply use of crude weapons over the years, that now we're even seeing use of tear gas, military-grade weapons at political rallies. Forget about which alignment they're in. The cartoon on the Daily Nation today has a caricature of the police service on one hand, the rank and file and some opposition politicians on another. And there's tear gas canisters being thrown across. And it's now the tear gas saying that they are embarrassed. The tear gas is embarrassed.
I'm being misused.
Of its association with the Interior Ministry. The tear gas is simply doing its job. Don't you think that, yes, don't you agree with this headline that the senior-most rank and file that actually handles security agencies in Kenya today should take the blame for this? We've had the CS talking tough. But he's the same CS talking about accusing the opposition leaders of carrying tear gas to their own rallies instead of taking action against such culprits, if at all. Don't you think that that's where the problem lies?
I agree. It's a height of hypocrisy when you see the sort of headline and you see the imagery there. That's a truck that has goons armed with crude weapons. But their political stance is clearly demarcated. They are announcing to all and sundry that, look, we are supporting Tutam.
They're not even hiding.
They're not hiding it. So it's so shameful for the government to outsource its monopoly of violence. It tells you two things. Number one, its exercise of violence, that monopoly, has been shattered, withered, if you choose, because of its own mismanagement of even the concept of governance. Kenya Kwanza has no idea of what governance is in this country. You're supposed to lead people. I'm telling you, if I was the president of this country, I would tell every Kenyan, I want you to just be happy and get every person who is into entertainment after 5. That's when you get employed. Because I want a workforce that is stress-free after 5. But now when you get into this kleptomaniac thievery of petty thievery, of public coffers, you have this sort of scenario that will accost you at every turn. Because when it happened the first time, and we saw during the Gen Zs, the use of crude weapons, these gangsters that were accompanied, supervised, if you choose, by the police. Everybody was in horror. I mean, like, look, this is horrifying. You're seeing the government endorsing organized crime, mafioso style. And I was shocked and stunned. Right here with Mheshimiwa Muthoni, you are actually advocating for these goons because she's saying, we have to live with it, sort of. And then she says, speaks from both sides of the mouth with tremendous respect, something has to be done about it. If I heard her right.
Okay, I need to ask you something. Can I ask him something? I know you're the host.
I'm coming to you next. Let's allow him to finish. Then I'll come to you next.
Because I was stunned, when she was saying it. The PS should be the last person to be saying that we need to take action. The Penal Code does criminalize organized crime. This is emblematic. This is symbolic. This is an exempling that you do not need any more exposition on of organized crime. There is a truck with a registration number. The NTSA can provide who owns that truck, or at least it was in whose control, who hired it. If it was not the owner, who hired it. And you have goons there with faces. But then, juxtaposed against that image, you see some goons there that are face masks. That is expression of criminal intent. When you think that law, that as a government, you have to hire people and face masks. And we saw this in Wetima. People showing up with face masks. And what does that tell you? This is organized so that at least their identity is somehow obfuscated, obscured. They cannot be traced. And the government with its state machinery, and now it's outsourced its intelligence to a certain country in the Middle East that wants to overload everybody else around the world. It's called Israel. And they were using the technology so as then to get the Gen Zs and hunt them down, and then after that kill them. And with all that intelligence, the government cannot arrest these people. What is the government telling me as we head to 2027 elections? The government will outsource all manner of goons that are ready and available to be on its payroll so that it will suppress any opposition to its lust for seizure of power. And we heard repeatedly that they are forming coalitions for the sole unitary purpose of seizure of power. Not you, the Kenyan person.
Okay.
Do they have in mind? So when you see these political expressions, and the PS is there saying that, and then we heard the CS, and we saw the CS saying, we have politicians that are hiring good. Really? you dare even say that we should be seeing you parading them in court for organized crime?
No one has been arrested with regard to this kind of violence so far.
Can I tell you something?
And they're now emboldened. They're even printing T-shirts and jerseys and reflector jackets. And saying what they're doing.
So first of all, I want to ask you this, Wakili. What excites you? When you were that age, what excited you? What based on your social upbringing, what was exciting you?
Self-realization.
No, what did you do to really have fun? What was the thing that you did? Because I'll tell you,
I did art. Travel.
You did art. You traveled. Some of these.
These are criminal elements. We're not saying they are.
Those are Kenyans. Those are Kenyans. You're calling them criminal elements because you're seeing them in waistcoats. They're borders. They've got the waistcoats. The politicians have given them these jerseys to wear with their names, their branding. Today, the president's going to be in Westlands. All right. I would love to invite you to be in my car and go with me. All right? Now, you tell me there's going to be 10,000 people that are going to
go for his meeting?
No. You come with me and see what we're dealing with in terms of Kenyans. These are Kenyans who are unemployed. All right?
You've encouraged it.
No, we've not encouraged it. Let me tell you, this is a systemic problem that has happened since independence that Ruto's trying to fix. And I'm telling you, the kind of people that have been employed in Nairobi, we've got maybe 2 million people who are not having gainful employment. Right. When we say we pay extra taxes.
Kibaki extinguished it. In fact, there were all these street boys and street gangs that were hurling, feces at everybody else, snatching phones. Kibaki truncated that. Kibaki's governance.
My question is,
extinguish that.
What do you say to the fact that there's now use of military-grade weapons?
I think the interior has a big task ahead to make sure that the intelligence, the interior, they have a task ahead to make sure that they do take care of all that. Okay, it's not my job to go and do that. But for us as parliamentarians, our job is to make sure they have the resources. The question is, the resources are also required for so many other things. But for me, I feel, when we have the cutout, I look at some of who we call goons. These are Kenyans who are over 35. I wish there was a way that we could create programs with government, and we've done it with the Climate Works, we've done it with the Nairobi River Regeneration, we've done it with employing teachers, we've done it with employing nurses and doctors. The question is, if we have to employ every Kenyan, right? If we have to employ every Kenyan as government, we would not be able to sustain it. So we need private sector. We need private sector. And for private sector to come, we're in a catch-22. We've got a population that is out there that gets excited with politics. They will come out, they will be excited. Let me tell you, half of these people here will go home without any money that day.
But
some of them will be paid by politicians.
Yes, let her answer this. These politicians get these goons, gangs.
You don't have to get them.
Hold on, Mheshimiwa. So that they come and quote unquote agitate for them and therefore voice their political stance. But immediately after those meetings are over, those same goons extend their criminal activities after the meeting and extend it to the general population. So you see purse snatching of telephones, which is now the extension of the organized crime. How will they stop that spilling over as an unmanageable criminal sort of cancer in this country? How will you stop it?
And I think the question applies to you.
Look, let me say something. I recently had a function where the Chinese ambassador in December was coming to open 6 classrooms that I built in BD Primary. The Chinese ambassador was there. I called the police and I said to the police, I need security. They came.
Did you need to invite the Chinese ambassador?
Mm-hmm. The Chinese ambassador was my chief guest.
All right.
Okay. So she was my chief guest. Okay, and she donated money for the school. So
because of time.
Yeah. So the thing is, we had about 10 police, and then these gangs came in because they heard there was a function. So they hear there's a function, not invited, they come in, and I mean, every politician that was leaving the event, they would hang on their car. They would want money. Motorbikes would chase you.
Were the police there?
So the police were there, but the police could do Nothing. Because what do you want the police to do? Throw a canister in a school? Shoot in the air? Come on. So the thing is, we have got a population crisis. We need to figure out how to manage it. And I think creating jobs through programs and projects is one way. Another way is how Baba said, we need to have 6,000 given to every unemployed family so that they can sustain themselves. We're giving the elderly 2,000. Is it enough? It's not enough. But we are getting somewhere. So for me, I feel as a country, if we address corruption decisively, which Uhuru had failed to address, and he said it was too big an elephant for him to handle.
Final comment.
And we also create opportunity for our youth, right? We will have criminal elements. When you have a population that is unemployed and is frustrated, and they feel that the only way to earn an income that day is to chase around a politician. And that's why I'm saying we need a law that says only 6 months to elections should we campaign.
The reality
not before.
is very different.
Not before.
Are we saying the police are totally helpless when it comes to this?
What I just want to say is that I think Honorable Basaris is talking about two groups. There are groups that are organic, that when they see a politician, they come and they want money and things like that, and those things can be handled. The problem that currently we have, and we want to tell every politician to stop this bad behavior, is a situation whereby you craft gangs on your payroll purposely to disrupt other people's events. I think it's a bad behavior.
It is a reality.
It's a bad behavior. And the sooner we stop it, the better.
What do you say about the use of military-grade weapons, tear gas, even guns?
You see, it boils down to us politicians, because the fact that you have conceptualized and you have drafted the list, including, and it is well programmed, because in that goons there is a leader, things like that, up to the bottom. So the same leader will also look for ways of getting these military-grade weapons and giving to the boys.
The question was, are the police helpless in this?
Of course, anything in Kenya.
That such weapons could be in the hands of politicians and goons freely?
You can get anything in Kenya if you have money. Yeah? You can get, even you give a policeman some money, like 10,000, he will give you a gun.
Wow.
And so it is not something, we all know where a gun belongs, where it should be licensed. We know where a tear gas should be found, but we all live in Kenya.
All right.
And in Kenya you can get anything.
And the question,
what we just want to tell to tell every politician, and I think the government should take this one a bit seriously, is that this idea of having organized gangs.
The question on the front page of the Standard is whose goons, and they seem to lay the blame directly at the doorstep of the PS for Interior, Raymond Omolo. Whose goons are these? Some of them emboldened enough to wear jerseys and reflector jackets declaring their political alignments. 18 months to the election. We need to sample some feedback just before we wind up, but there's one here I've received through WhatsApp, and it's this by a gentleman calling himself Omondi Dalmas, and some live watching Mama County, Esther Pasaris, Makadara constituency MP in waiting. So someone is enjoying watching you on TV. Good. All right, so we're done with that. Let me join my colleague Anne to see what else people are saying on the other side with regard to the question we are asking today, this morning. And the question was about... No, before we come to this, I thought we would be sampling some views about what people were saying about the conversation we just had.
All right, this is the conversation we're having starting 8 a.m. All right. Yes. We all know that those goons are hired by the opposition. You can't blame the government for your own doings. Quit this hypocritical act. That is John Muridi.
Julie Muchosho says that opposition unity is not realistic because Mr. Gachagua is already talking about being president. Mukinishagua, he's vying for presidency already. With Gachagua, that team hakuna mahali mutaenda except united opposition.
All right, Shitati Waseka, wafanye vile wanataka. Kibaki won in 2007, Ruto must win in 2027. Kenya sio ya Wakikuyu, ni ya Wakenya wote. All right, these are just some of your feedback. So coming back to that question of the day for our 8 a.m. segment, Are women the new problem in modern relationships?
This is an interesting one. Yes, because we're in 2026.
Yeah.
Men have traditionally been the problem. Wanakunywa sana, hawakuji nyumbani, hawalipi school fees, hawafanyi nini. 2026, are they still the problem?
What do you mean men
are women the new problem in
problem?
modern relationships? Make sure you use the hashtag MorningCafeTV47 is a conversation we're having after the break.
All right, we have Mama Count in the house. What do you think about our question of the day? Are women the problem, and they say, in modern relationships?
I think it takes two to tango. Mm-hmm. It takes two to tango. So both the woman and the man has to, have responsibilities to sustaining a relationship. Mm-hmm. Relationships are not easy. Okay. So if anybody thinks that, wow, it's going to be an easy ride, it's not. It requires tolerance, it requires sacrifice. But if you have love, if the relationship is founded on love, you will be able to conquer every problem.
But are they the new problem?
No, I don't think so. I think the problem is not the woman. The woman has always been there. The problem is the empowered woman that a man who's patriarchal cannot entertain. Men don't want to see a woman who can buy her own clothes. Yeah. There's that song, I can buy myself flowers, So, men don't want to see that. But the thing is, life is becoming so expensive. If your wife earns more than you, but also the woman has to understand the man's ego, right, in a relationship. He's supposed to be the breadwinner. When you are the one bringing in the money, he might not be able to handle it. So you need to discuss these things. There's a book called The 4 Agreements, written by a Mexican guy, and he says that you need to agree on everything. There's certain things that you were taught, that you acquired from school by watching, but just, you need to agree on everything. Right. So when you meet a man and you marry him, he might be a Nandi man who will never go into the kitchen. So you need to agree with him that, look, when I'm sick, are you going to send me to my mom, or are you going to cook for me?
Right.
So agreements, talk about everything. We are in it together, we need each other, and love is beautiful.
And that's
so just
very
enjoy
politically
it.
Correct
No, Fred was going to gaslight you, but I'm here to protect you. What do you think, Mheshimiwa? Are women the new problem in modern relationships? What do you think?
Allow me not to answer.
Why? Why?
He might actually get into problems.
I might get into problems.
He will not get into the house.
So in short, that's a yes answer.
Wakili, what do you feel? It is 2026.
Yes.
Men have traditionally been the problem. But in 2026, do you think the women are the new problem in relationships?
It's not all women. It's not all women.
Yes.
Women who are drunk, steeped, and totally rooted in feminism. Feminism has destroyed very many women.
Yes.
And especially they who get brainwashed. They go to the university and they think that, the best thing I should be is a career woman, and therefore I'm going to be... They believe everything they hear, these so-called celebrities like Oprah Winfrey. And by the way, Oprah Winfrey is touting a very dangerous drug called Ozempic to, lose weight. It's going to kill you. So don't even go there. I'm just giving an example how they use those prominent people, those prominent women. But there's an agenda behind it. There's an agenda that tells you that, as a woman, you are the caregiver of your family, the primary caregiver. And therefore, they want to take the woman from the house. The house collapses. There is an agenda behind all of that, which you can see spilling over to the point now that the young men of the Gen Z generation don't want to have children with these women. Now note, they would love to have children. Yes, they would love to have a family. But you cannot have a woman who's always there on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram. They are displaying everything. They don't care about raising a family or their privacy or they themselves. This is a problem emanating from...
You've just hit the point.
So the problem is an empowered woman. Just hold on.
No.
Thank you so much.
Not the empowered woman. The empowered woman can be very homely. There can be an empowered woman who, of course, like Mheshimiwa Modoni is saying, you're earning an income in this day and age. It is pretty good to have that equilibrium in the family. But these women who believes in feminism, that,
I'm a feminist. I'm a feminist.
And
Guilty as charged.
This is a conversation you're going to be having after
the bane of modern social reality, and they are killing it, and they are serving an agenda.
Thank you so much.
Wait, hold on. I have to say this. I'm a feminist. I love opera, and there's nothing wrong with her going on Ozempic if it works for her. There's nothing wrong. Ozempic is actually a drug that helps diabetes and also gives you the benefit of losing weight. So there's no problem.
Allow me to acknowledge my panel. Esther Passaris, Woman Representative Nairobi, David Kiplagat, MP Soy, and Wakili Harrison Kinyanjui. Thank you so much for your time at 7 this morning. Yes, because we need to talk about this. Are women the new problem in modern relationships? Keep the conversation going online. We'll be sampling your views as we continue. We'll be having another panel on
Absolutely.
Use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47.
All right, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, or next at TV47 Digital. And I could see how MP Soy was looking at Mama County when she was putting across her point. Stay tuned. Don't go too far.